Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Tenerife. I apologise for the gap between these episodes. Obviously, if you're on a playlist catch-up, then you don't notice this. But for those that are watching live, sorry for that. Combination of doing the experiment videos and then technical issues mean that not only is there a bigger gap, I have also played games that I wanted to show you. I'll get you caught up on those after the intro. The good news is you didn't really miss much. This is the goal in the Hertha Berlin game. Fortunate for my auger, I think his initial shot was actually blocked there. Took 77 minutes to break that deadlock. They didn't have a shot on target. It was one of those games. Neither of the games were particularly highlight full. This is the goal against Atletico Madrid in the second half. Ravella heads it on. It's a ridiculous header for the assist there. And Mayorga buries that. But Mayorga has become first choice. Maxi Gomez has annoyed me to the point where I'm not playing him at all. He's officially asking to leave because he thinks he's a better player than he was a year ago. And as anyone who plays Football Manager knows, that doesn't happen when you're 30 years old in the game. So, but Mayorga's goal in the Vallecano match came slightly early. I did play one more game and I decided to bring you the Chelsea match, whether we play Espanyol afterwards. Depends if the Chelsea game follows the trend of the Hertha and Atletico ones, of having one highlight and it being the goal, or not. But Mayorga, Faisal with a penalty, and Hugo Merckx late on dealt with Vallecano, which means in the Spanish First Division, I will still show you this, of course, even though we are Champions League focused. We're 10 points clear after 14 games now. It was only 6 points at the beginning of what should have been the last episode. So Barcelona, obviously we beat Atletico Madrid there, but they have lost again to further widen that gap. Slightly irritating that Maxi Gomez does have 8 goals. Ravella, though, as much as I talk about Orsolini being supremely consistent, he was actually second on the assist list there, I think. Ravella has 14 assists in 17 appearances. No goals, but 14 assists in 17 appearances in all competitions. It's ridiculous. His average rating 7.67 total, 7.61 in the league. And when I show you one key stat, it might slightly blow your mind here. And I'm looking at this column over here, key passes made. Ravella, in 17 starts, has made 115 key passes. The next highest, admittedly, half the game time, somehow. Hugo Merckx, 11 starts, 36. 8 starts for Grealish is 27. 7 starts for Orsolini is 26. 12 starts for Faisal, who is the player who plays in front of him most of the time, 25. Don't get me wrong, Ravella has 500 more minutes than the majority of those other creative players there. But Ravella is in that Segundo Volante role. If you combine the person that's been alongside them, mostly, that is McDonald here, with 21 in 11 starts, and Valverde here, which is 7 starts and 11, you still get nowhere near Ravella's total. Nowhere near. That's 32 in a combined 18 starts to Ravella's 115 in 17. It's genuinely baffling, and the bit I don't understand is why he's so much better than the person in front of him, which is Faisal and Ferreira here, with 12 in 6 starts and 25 in 12. It's genuinely confusing. Bear in mind, Ravella is here on 55 grand a week still. He's not improved his contract, although I think he's getting one at the end of the year. Yeah, I couldn't begrudge him that when he came to me asking for a new contract. Yeah, you kind of deserve one, Ravella. I said end of the year. He was fine with it. But we are going to play Chelsea today, and the match does matter, don't get me wrong. If we lose it, then we are in a marginal bit of peril, but the remaining game is against Young Boys, which should, in theory, be a guaranteed 3 points, which means no matter what happens here, we should, in theory, leave with at least 13, which would see us safe, because obviously Chelsea and Hertha play each other on the final day. And we do have a 4-point buffer on Hertha anyway, so everything's fine in that regard. And we have the head-to-head regardless, because I think that actually goes first. We are going to go full strength here, there or thereabouts. Ferreira for Faisal is being done on a condition basis only, and that is it. Last 5 games for the pair of them are about the same, realistically, so one over the other isn't really a thing. Christensen will start in goal. Lodi will start at left-back. Lodi Tenorio is an interesting one. Tenorio had a very poor last game, but overall for the season actually might be worth playing here in this particular match. And actually, I'm going to make one more change as well. Tenorio left back, Harwood, Picard, Bermudez. McDonald is going to start to try and entice that yellow card for the Young Boys match, so he's out for that one, not a key match. Ravello alongside him, Ferreira in front, Grealish and Merckx, and Mayorga up front. In fairness, he's up to 7 goals now. He's only 1 behind Maxi Gomez. I don't know what the starts are like. It's 7 and 8 starts for Mayorga, and it's 8 and 10 for Maxi Gomez, so Mayorga's doing well. I just noticed that Chelsea have Giovanni Reina. And off the back of that, just a brief plug for the county football experiment that I'm doing. Please go check that out. I will link it at the end of the video. By the time this video will go live on Friday, part 3 will be up on the previous Wednesday, so there should be 3 episodes for you to enjoy that. Yeah, so sorry that you're seeing Chelsea again. I did want to provide you a bit of a variety, but with the focus this season being on the Champions League, I have to deal with this match and none others. It made the most sense because you kind of missed the 2 that were previous to this. We did draw a match in the league. Actually, I forgot to highlight that. That was something talked about in the now lost episode because technical issues seem to be fine today. I don't understand why it does this every now and then. I can't work out what does it. And of course, I haven't talked about the previous fixtures other than that draw as well, before the 2 1-0s against Hertha and Atletico. There were 3 3-1s in a row following the 3-1 in the what is now the previous episode against Real Madrid. Yeah, 2 more 3-1s after that and a 7-0 against Young Boys, which is somewhat contributing to that minus 18 goal difference you can see in the table. Chelsea are working this nicely, although for some reason just gave it to us. We are wearing blue shorts, which can't be that unconfusing. I was really hoping that ball was going to go out wide right there, because the space was there. Ah, well, Chilwell with the most obvious penalty of all time gets away with it. That is so wild that wasn't even looked at. Howard, of all the penalties that have been given in this year's game, the one that is the most blatant isn't. Merckx out to Bermudez. Back into Merckx. I'm looking for a little bit more from Merckx, and that is an assist at very least. Same with Grealish, actually. So looking for a bit more from him as well. That's a goal for him. Dukeling just got injured on international duty, so that's fun. Mayorga just got his first goal for Spain. He's only 18, don't forget, so he's had 3 caps in total now, and he's scored on his last appearance, which is nice. Nice for him. My third choice centre mid, Kaiser, who's currently largely available for the B team, also got his first appearance for Holland. Not his first goal, but his first appearance. So the fact he's in the second tier of Spain, basically playing this year, and getting his first international appearance for Holland speaks a lot for his potential, seemingly. Werner doesn't score. Christensen is currently, well, at the start of this game, 527 minutes without conceding, apparently. 527 minutes. It's a mad stat. Merckx, almost as mad as Ravella's. He passes. I was a little bit confused where that highlight was going there for a second. But what I like to see in this particular game is the fact that Merckx and Grealish have 2 key passes apiece. I quite like this setup because you can see the key passes. And actually, in this game, it is the inverted wingers that are doing all of the business, which is what I want to see from them because they haven't been that good for me this year so far. Werner's injured, didn't even see that. And former Man United in this game world player Jack Grealish taking the lead against an English opponent. Chelsea have any Spanish league players? The ones that start in Spain anyway. Oh, they've got Rodrigo. They've actually got a player in the same position who's moved the opposite way from Spain to England. We've taken Grealish, who's gone England to Spain. Ward-Prowse with a... I like Ward-Prowse. He's a very good player. Does feel like the odd one out in this team, though, when you look at Chelsea's formation. And you've got players like Reina. I mean, Zuma in their central defence is probably a similar boat, to be honest, as well. Again, good player. Feels like an odd one out. Sancho, well, there's Reina. They just raided Dortmund, apparently. A draw here is not the end of the world, I'll be honest. But it's James to Sancho. It's made in England, this one. James to Sancho, and then to Reina of... Well, he's born in Sunderland, so we'll claim it. Oh yeah, in case you're wondering why I segued from Reina to my county's experiment, that's why. Reina's born in Sunderland, so I gave him to Tyne and Wear in that experiment. I gave him to the county of Tyne and Wear. Giovanni Reina is born in the same place as Jordan Henderson and Jordan Pickford. It's a mad world we live in. Tenorio to Grealish. It's a shame that we couldn't claim him somehow. Then again, we are somewhat stocked on attacking midfielder players. I mean, Musso gathers this. Musso's a good goalkeeper, but I'm not fully certain he should be at a top club. I don't know what his potential's like in the game. Merckx just runs through everyone and scores. At least the AML and AMR today are performing, Merckx and Grealish. The good news is Bermudez is booked, so he will be out of the Young Boys match. So that's one of those. Not great for Musso there, somewhat reinforcing the point I was making just before that goal went in. And out of nowhere, by the way, I have noticed that Ravella has taken the lead in the key passes list for this match. I don't know what it is about that position. Because bear in mind, I think I do put Ravello on the left when Valverde plays. McDonald, Grealish, so it's not like it's DMCR right compared to left. So it's not like it's the right defensive midfielder versus the left defensive midfielder getting the benefit there. It's just Ravella. I don't know where this highlight's going, by the way. It's been going for a little while already, and possession with Musso currently, but immediately intercepted by Bermudez. Mayorga's probably offside there, and Grealish scores. He isn't. That is one of the weirdest goals I've ever seen. Bermudez volleys it back from the goal kick. Musso kicks it, and Bermudez just straight up volleys it back. Well, I think it does just hit the ground before Bermudez whacks it back up there, but I'll call it a volley, because for all intents and purposes, it was first time whack back up to Mayorga, who assists Grealish for his second, and I'm just pleased they're getting something on their scorecards today. Ravella is going to come off for Valverde here. I'm leaving McDonald on, even though he's tired, purely so he can try and entice that yellow card in. When you want them to get booked, I'm trying to put... Didn't Mourinho do that at one point, deliberately get players booked? Grealish has 2 goals, Merckx has 1. We'll take Merckx off a little bit, or Cellini. Grealish can stay on for his hat-trick. Tenorio can come off for... Yeah, well, we've got 13 minutes. We'll leave a third sub just in case something happens. But we can save Ravella at this point for a few minutes, and we could save Merckx for a little bit too. You know, Bermudez already has his yellow card, so let's bring him off for Nedalea. Don't want to risk a red there, because I think that keeps the yellow card active. Then he would miss the Young Boys match, and then still have a yellow card warning. Of course, this might put me in the awkward position of having Nedalea on a yellow card warning if he picks one up in the remaining 2 minutes. That pass intercepted by largely just hitting Chilwell. Don't think he knew much about it until it was literally hitting him in the face there, but Orsolini now. Mayorga has actually started to let me down a little bit, Orsolini, in the last few matches. 6.6s abound for him lately. Still for the season. Doing well, particularly for a rotated out player. Orsolini, Vitinha, Mayorga, Orsolini to Valverde. Oh, lovely move. Vitinha's in. Ferreira, Vitor Ferreira. Lovely move to seal this 4-1. I mean, completely unnecessary goal, but it was arguably the best one. I just love this move. Into Valverde, straight through the middle. Vitinha. Valverde actually dealing with that in the Ravella position. Maybe it actually is the position. I think I lied. I think I might have lied earlier when I said I put Ravella on the left when Valverde's playing. I think I just leave him on the left because it's easier to rotate that side. Orsolini's going to put Mayorga in, and there's another chance here for a 5th. Doesn't happen. It's blocked. I really think Jack Grealish probably should have smacked that first time there. I mean, it could be 4-2, actually. It's end-to-end stuff here in the dying seconds. Why does this break every time? I don't know what it is about this skin. Can someone please tell me if they're using this skin how to permanently have this on the right things? Every time I open a save, I have to redo that side at the very least for some reason. One of the right people got booked. Picard and Grealish added to the list. Is it 3 yellows you need, though, for a full substitution? I think it is. Full suspension, sorry. Words are hard. Don't record in ages and you forget how football works. So it looks like Young Boys were beaten by 4. Yep, Hertha beat them 4-0. Bayern deal with Salzburg and Inter deal with Copenhagen. That's a very one-sided group, to be fair. Inter and Bayern versus Copenhagen and Salzburg. Blimey. Meanwhile, you've got this group of death. Actually, how is that group panning out? Man United in 3rd. Go on, Valencia. Go on. What's their remaining game? Oh, it's against Man United. Oh, Jesus. Napoli done for, but holy... Go on, Valencia. I remember that first season we were in the Champions League. I think it was the year we won it, wasn't it? Where all of the other teams went out in 3rd from Spain. Juan Ignacio Gutierrez has 6 goals in the group stages for Valencia. He's 2 stars, apparently, according to my scouts, but that might be an old scout report because he looks quite decent, looks quite pacey, which normally bumps the scout reports up a little bit in terms of star rating. Atletico 3rd in their group with Lyon and Ajax. What the bloody hell are you doing, Atletico? Barca 2nd in their group, that's fine. As long as they get something out of their last game, they're through. Liverpool qualified by virtue of having head-to-head on Barcelona there, I suspect. But Chelsea in danger in our group. Man United in danger in Group G. Gladbach in danger in a group with Milan and Anderlecht. Dortmund, I mean, what? Hang on, Group C. What's the matches in Group C? Because one of Juventus, Dortmund and Lille are not getting through here. It is Juventus versus Lille, Dortmund versus Galatasaray. So you feel safely for your Borussia there, but Lille beat Juventus. Juventus will be 3rd. When this draw is made, I said if Celtic can get anything out of Porto, they have a good chance here. Seemingly, they've not got anything out of Porto. Well, they drew at home. They yet to play them away. I just realised the top half of those groups hadn't played their 5th game yet. But it's an interesting Champions League. A couple of teams have got... I don't know why I've just done this. our progression there is effectively sealed. We could end the group with 16 points, only drawing with Chelsea away from home. Impressive showing from us, actually. The next episode of Tenerife will bring you back after the January transfer window, likely with the first round of the Champions League, whenever that may be. It's sometime in February, I think, normally. Could tie in with this Barcelona game, actually. So it's going to be a big gap between, but I would not be surprised if there's an interesting January here. There's a few people scouting our players. Merckx is actually being straight up scouted by Liverpool in the matches he plays. It's going to take a lot to prize him off us. They're saying 130 million thereabouts. His release fee is 160, so they're not at that yet in terms of the offer listed on the news reports. Also, I just want to highlight one thing before I wrap things up. It's just going to be a one-game episode here, and that is, now that I've sort of fully curated the Tenerife B team, let's say, they're doing a lot better. I got rid of all of the Deadwood players that were taking the spots of up-and-coming players, and suddenly, Tenerife aren't struggling at the beginning of a season anymore. Because that happened the past 2 years. They struggled at the beginning and then found their form in the second half and did all right. For a second there, I thought that Barcelona player on the average rating league was called Roger. No, Roger Lopez is fine. Thank you for joining me. I do apologise for the technical issues that prevented there being an episode on Monday. I was extremely frustrated by the turn of events there. I don't know why it happens. I record episodes, I do a full stream on Saturday, and then I go to record another episode for Tenerife, and then suddenly it's dropping frames and having issues, and therefore made it impossible to edit because it wouldn't play back properly. So I do apologise for that. I will see you again very soon, in your sake, on Monday, hopefully. A little bit for me to play through, though. Until then, ta-ra.